President Trump is poised for another big trade victory today. The Senate is set to approve his USMCA trade deal one day after he signed that Phase 1 trade deal with China.
And this is an unbelievable deal for the United States, and ultimately it's a great deal for both countries, and it's going to also lead to even a more stable peace throughout the world. China is helping us with North Korea. China is helping us with a lot of the things that they can be helping us with, which you don't see in a deal, but they have been very, very helpful.
Timmons is the president and CEO of the National Association of Manufacturers. He was actually in the room yesterday when President Trump signed that trade deal. He's in our D.C. bureau this morning. Jay, it's good to see you as always. The president, we know, was very upbeat about this yesterday. He was all smiles in that room. But does this deal do enough for your members?
Look, I think he should have been all smiles, and I think the American people should be all smiles. And quite frankly, manufacturers are smiling quite broadly today after the signing of that Phase 1 deal. Now, I think it's important to really note, Alexis, this is Phase 1. And to your point, does it do enough? No, it doesn't do enough, but it is an incredible start. And I also think it's important to note this has never happened in history. The president, of course, was very happy to point that out, but I think he had a right to. Over the last 30 years, we've been just bombarded with the theft of our intellectual property, as well as counterfeiting and subsidization and dumping and forced transfer of technology. This administration took it head on, and they got some results, and results matter.
Jay, would you be okay with declaring the U.S. manufacturing recession dead as a result of the signing of the Phase 1 deal?
Well, you know, I would say that we had a slowdown last year, and I know some use the R word. I'm not really prepared to do that. I wasn't prepared at the time. But we certainly saw a slowdown in manufacturing confidence last year. We saw a slowdown in manufacturing investment and hiring. There were two reasons for that, according to our survey that we conduct every quarter among manufacturers. The top reason was actually not China or trade. The top reason was that manufacturers cannot find skilled workers to employ in the workforce. We have 500,000 open jobs, and it's exactly why the NAM has kicked off our Creators Wanted campaign that will be in 18 to 25 states this year to attract the next generation of manufacturing workers. The second reason, though, to your point, was trade and trade uncertainty. If you look at China, if you look at USMCA, if you look at some of the concerns that are going on between the United States and Europe, those all factored in. We now have certainty with USMCA, or we will when the Senate passes that trade deal. We will have certainty to some degree with China. We do as of yesterday. So a lot of these issues are getting resolved, and I think you're going to, I think, and I will predict that you will see a rising sense of manufacturing optimism in the first quarter of 2020.
Yeah, Jay, you bring up that deal that's going to be signed between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. What is in that deal that you like? What would you have liked to see that perhaps isn't there for your members?
So I'm really proud of manufacturers for taking these issues head on and being constructive forces for solutions. So with the China deal, for instance, 2 years ago, we put out a letter where we sent a letter to the president encouraging a bilateral trade agreement, which had never happened in the history of our two countries, and the administration successfully took that on. With the USMCA, we said from the start, this is a 25-year-old agreement. It probably needs to be updated. And so the administration took that on. They didn't kill NAFTA, which would have been devastating to 2 million manufacturing workers in this country, which is why we spoke up 3 years ago to say, please don't do that. But reform it, modernize it, bring it into the 21st century. Cell phones weren't even a thing when NAFTA was created. And think about now the digital improvements that have been made in this agreement and other improvements that really bring this agreement into the 21st century.
Jay, two big deals on the trade front for the president this week. Do you feel, taking a step back, do you feel as though the president has lived up to what he has told the manufacturers, told the manufacturing space when he was running for election? So
I think it's very easy when you're looking at an elected official, regardless of political party, to say, hey, what have you done for me lately? I think that's very unfair, and I think it's very short-sighted. What I would like to do is rewind to 3 years ago when this administration came into office. They promised comprehensive tax reform, they promised regulatory certainty, and they promised to level the playing field for for manufacturers in the United States against our competitors. They delivered on tax reform. We got the first tax reform in 30 years that was actually focused on encouraging investment and job creation, and it resulted in us doing exactly that, as well as raising wages and benefits. We've gotten regulatory certainty, and as a result, we have taken it upon ourselves as manufacturers to say we will now be responsible for making sure that we have cleaner air and cleaner water and a healthier environment. And on trade, I'll be the first to admit, I probably would not have been a fan and was not a fan of some of the remedies that were put forth, but this president got the attention of the Chinese like nobody ever has. So I think that promises are being kept, and I think that that's very important when you're looking at the record of an administration. Look at policies. Don't look at process. Don't look at personalities. Don't look at politics. Look at policies and the results. And the results have been quite good.
All right, Jay Timmons, thanks so much. We appreciate your time today.
Hey, investors. Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.